Do you also hate fighting twin mold? Fucking miserable, dog shit difficult fight? Well, good news. If you pour spring water on the pillars, you get a little fireworks show. I hope that cheered you up. It's your consolation for having to do that boss fight. Hello, it's Toe. You hate to see it. A little while ago, Feely asked me why spring water melts sunblocks. And I thought, good question. No idea, but I can find out. Here for you today are some facts about spring water. Fact. Spring water does almost every type of damage. As you know, as we all learned in kindergarten, there are 32 types of damage in Majora's Mask. Spring water, it turns out, does 29 of them. In fact, it's quicker to list the kinds of damage that spring water does not do. It doesn't do shield type damage, like Link's shield hitting things. Doesn't do light ray damage, this is going to be important later. And doesn't do one unknown and mostly unused type of damage. But everything else, from Zorfin's to Deku Spin, it does. That's a spring water fact. Keep in mind that Majora's Mask is a very simulationist game. You can almost see the lineage to Breath of the Wild in how Majora's Mask is made. Shooting an arrow through a torch to light another torch isn't like a pre-programmed interaction. Rather, it's a natural action of a bunch of different entities all colliding with each other. When we pour spring water on a sunblock, spring water does light arrow damage. Sunblocks receive light arrow damage. The world is in motion. So we can clear Stone Tower pretty easily. Wait, why doesn't it work here? This is well known, but keep it in mind. The block has to be on a step down, just because the sunblock hitbox is weirdly high off the ground. Just keep that fact rotating in your head for a minute. Pouring spring water on Ego's corpse doesn't work because, remember, it doesn't do light ray damage. More on this in a minute. Here's a spring water fact. Ice, which is one of the sort of vanilla things that spring water is supposed to interact with, asks two things. First of all one breath, is it water and is it hot? Secondly, is it not water? This is important. And if so, does it do fire arrow damage? That second condition is important because if these ice blocks didn't have that condition to first check if it was not water, then cold plain spring water, which deals fire arrow damage, would melt ice blocks. For you action swap enjoyers, lit arrows are their own type of arrow, but they do fire arrow damage. There's no damage difference between fire arrows and lit arrows. That's spring water fact. Here's another one. Beans also just check, is it water? Damage doesn't matter at all. So you can, of course, water beans with boiling water. This hack does not work in real life. Spring water fact. Why is it like this? Why does spring water do so many kinds of damage when its vanilla interactions don't actually use damage? I have a pretty good idea. I have a hypothesis. We have a clue in the kinds of damage that spring water does, that exact list of damage. Puzzle enjoyers can figure this out too. You can pause the video to guess in the comments if you'd like. Here's what I think is going on. The suspicious-minded of you might notice something about the list of kind of damage that spring water deals. You might notice that it's exactly the same list as the default kinds of damage that most normal objects are affected by. What an odd coincidence. You conspiracy theorists might ask, did they just put the AC flags in the AT slot? Right? Did they put the list of damage that should be affected by in the list of damage that it deals? Who could say? And you spring water conspiracy theorists might think, indeed, if we look, the AC flags are the same as the default AT flags, and vice versa, and so we come full circle. Well, is this a glitch? No, this is simply how the game is, I think. It's just a fact about the game. This is as God and Miyamoto intended, and we can all move on to bug limit like God and Miyamoto intended. There's a follow-up question here, which is, why doesn't spring water do everything? Why doesn't it do everything to everything? It really seems like hot spring water should break the boulder in Milk Road. It does, in fact, do cake damage, so, like, why can't you pour hot spring water to blow things up? Why can't you pour hot spring water on Sakon to explode him? Things like that. Good question. As it turns out, there are 3 separate systems of damage that actors opt into or out of. There's player damage, there's enemy damage, and a whole category of miscellaneous other. Actors can opt into any or all of them. Like an arrow deals player type damage, so a torch that wants to be lit needs to opt into being affected by player type damage. You might think other as a sort of catch-all miscellaneous would be a large category, but it's surprisingly small. As you know, light system is all other, right? Switches, mirrors, beams, etc. As an aside, spring water doesn't light up mirrors because, remember, light ray damage is one of the kinds of damage it doesn't do. Beans are other, of course, to be affected by water. Water is other. Did I say this? Ice is other, to be affected by water. Then there are weird ones. The pillars in Twin Mold Room. To break, they seem to only care about the literal, giant link or literal actual twin mold. But pouring water on them makes them experience every single type of damage at once, which is why you get your little constellation fireworks. Bombs, keg, and bomb flowers are other. So we should be able to pour spring water on a bomb and have the bomb immediately explode. Hold on, nothing happened. I poured hot spring water on a bomb and it didn't explode. Am I lying to you? No. Remember why spring water doesn't hit sunblocks. The bomb's hitbox is way up. It's like on top of the fuse. Same with keg. So you got to do it on a ledge or on a slope. But if we drop the keg off of a ledge here, a small ledge, and then drop the spring water on a higher ground, immediate explosion. The final thing that is affected by spring water that I haven't looked into at all, because I wanted to make this video, is Ego Stuakana's head. And I expect spring water doesn't deal any amount of damage. I expect it'll make him recoil and do nothing, do no damage. But this is a topic for future research. It's really annoying to try to dump it on his head. Those have been spring water facts. Thanks so much to Feely for asking such an interesting question, and thanks for watching.